Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're looking at the provisional grid for Sunday's Brazilian Grand Prix, well, you're looking at maybe the most uh, strategically fascinating and just plain upside down qualifying result we've seen all season. Interlagos delivered chaos.
Oh, it was way more than just a session.
Yeah.
It felt like a seismic shift, didn't it? Especially for the championship.
Absolutely.
You got the title leader, Norris, sitting pretty on pole, and then his main rival, Verstappen, starting way, way back. This wasn't just, random luck. It was this whole chain reaction.
Yeah.
Technical issues, strategic calls, some brilliant driving, all converging, and, well, for some teams, at the worst possible moment.
Okay, let's unpack this. That's what we do here. Our mission today.
Right.
Figure out how on earth this grid got so flipped around. We really need to dig into the key failures, especially, what happened with Red Bull and how did Lando Norris, the championship leader, just maximize everything to grab pole. This feels like a potential turning point in the title fight, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And that pivot, it started like right away. Q1, the single biggest shock of the entire day, maybe the season, was Max Verstappen getting knocked out.
Verstappen eliminated in Q1. I mean, just saying it still feels weird, surreal.
It's huge, monumental. We're talking the first time the reigning champion hasn't made it out of Q1 since, Russia 2021?
Wow.
Just think about how big that is. He's starting P16, 16th.
And listening back to his radio, I mean, he was not happy, complaining about zero grip, car sliding everywhere. Now, for Verstappen, who can usually drive anything, is this just him struggling, or is it something bigger, a Red Bull strategy mess-up?
Look, it strongly points to a fundamental misread of the track conditions, I think. Interlagos, it was cooling down really fast.
Yeah.
And if the setup they ran or maybe didn't adjust properly was for a warmer track, well, the tires just wouldn't switch on. They couldn't get him in the window.
Right.
So this wasn't just bad driving. No way. This looked like a setup failure, a failure to adapt as the track evolved. And you could see the worry on the pit wall. Because it wasn't just Max.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Both Red Bulls out in Q1.
Total disaster. Their entire Sunday strategy pretty much ruined in, the first 18 minutes of qualifying?
Absolutely devastating. And while, the big guns were struggling, the track itself was actually getting faster for others. People were setting purple sectors left and right.
Yeah, the evolution was massive.
We saw some unexpected names pop up too, didn't we? Oliver Bierman in the Haas. He was quickest for a moment there.
He was. Showed that if you got the timing right, the setup right, the pace was definitely there to be found.
And the Astons looked pretty solid early on, too.
Yeah, Aston Martin, they seemed to find that sweet spot straight away. Stroll P5, Alonso P6, pretty early in the session. They looked comfortable.
On a bit of a sadder note, though, Gabriel Bortoleto, his debut at his home track, before it started, really.
Yeah, couldn't even get out of the pits. That impact in the sprint race must have done some serious damage. A real shame for him and Sauber.
But let's bring it back to the championship fight, because this is crucial. Norris, fastest in Q1. Verstappen, P16. Combine that with Piastri retiring from the sprint. I mean, the door isn't just open for Lando Norris. It's been blown off its hinges, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's a massive opportunity for him to build a huge gap in the points. That Q1 result alone, it's a huge psychological boost for Norris and, massive blow for Max.
So if Q1 was the shockwave, Q2 felt like, a demolition derby for the veterans.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it wasn't just one big name dropping out. We lost 3 huge, experienced drivers, guys who you'd normally bet your house on making Q3.
It was just brutal. Carlos Sainz out in P15, Fernando Alonso, P11. And maybe the biggest Q2 surprise, Lewis Hamilton, P13. That's his second Q2 exit this weekend alone.
Yeah, Hamilton's struggling again. But the Sainz one, that's really interesting when you dig into it.
How so?
Well, remember, he deliberately sacrificed his sprint race, started from the pit lane, all to optimize the car setup purely for this qualifying session.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
And he still could make Q3. Finishes a quiet P15.
Yeah.
It just shows the danger of putting all your eggs in one basket. If you guess wrong on track evolution, or the temperature drops more than you expect.
That super specialized setup becomes a massive liability.
Exactly. No margin for error. It was a huge gamble from Ferrari, and, it completely backfired, cost them a potential front-running start.
And even the guys who did make it through Q2, they were hanging on by their fingernails. Charles Leclerc.
Right.
Wow, that massive moment he had, losing the rear exiting turn 4.
Oh, that was huge. The save itself was brilliant, kept it out of the barriers.
Incredible car control.
But sliding the car like that, it just cooks the tires instantly. That localized heat, It almost certainly ruined that set for the rest of the session, or at least compromised them.
And you could just feel the pressure building in the timesheets. Q2 was incredibly tight. Behrman, again, showing his Q1 pace wasn't a one-off, set a 1.09.7.
Yep, really strong from him. And Kimi Antonelli. Wow. Only 19 thousandths off Behrman's time at one point.
It's just incredible. The margins were wafer thin. One tiny mistake, and you were out.
Absolutely unforgiving.
Okay, quick pause here. If you're watching this deep dive on YouTube, welcome to DRS Zone. We are right in the middle of breaking down this absolutely chaotic Brazilian GP qualifying. Do make sure you hit subscribe for loads more F1 analysis and, well, adrenaline.
And just before we jump into Q3, we have to mention something hanging over the session.
Yeah.
George Russell. He was noted for potentially impeding Lewis Hamilton during Q2.
Oh, yeah, I saw that flag.
Given how penalties have been handed out this season, there's a very real chance Russell could get a grid drop, which would just shuffle the pack even more and cause another headache for Mercedes.
Right, another layer of chaos, potentially. So all that drama, all that turbulence, it leads us into Q3. Green light comes on, and the fight for pole position is on, but crucially, without Max Verstappen in the mix.
The biggest rival, gone. Lando Norris must have been thinking, okay, this is the biggest chance of the year.
You'd think so, and yet he nearly threw it away, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. That first flying run, he made a mistake, ran wide somewhere, ended up 0.6 slower than Piastri, his own teammate.
Down in P10 initially?
P10. For a moment there, Oscar Piastri was actually on provisional pole. Just, 2 milliseconds ahead of LECLERC?
Yeah.
He was ridiculously close. But then the final run started.
And George Russell, he played an interesting card, didn't he? The sources confirmed he was the only one to go out on the medium tire for that last run.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Was that like a desperate move for grip on the cooling track, or maybe thinking ahead, knowing that potential penalty was looming?
Could be either, couldn't it? It was a classic Russell gamble, though. High risk, maybe high reward. Trying to use the medium's durability, maybe. Push harder without the softs falling off a cliff instantly. He got him P5 in the end.
P5. Interesting. But the real story of that final shootout, apart from Norris pulling it back, Kimi Antonelli. Again.
Oh, absolutely. He produced a giant lap. Just phenomenal.
Especially after that earlier moment he had. Nearly lost it completely. Big sideways slide into a corner. Made the save, but still.
Yeah, he had that big moment. Looked like it was all over. But he gathered it up, kept his cool, and then boom, delivered that outstanding lap. Basically repeated what he did in sprint qualifying. P2. Incredible composure.
It just shows mental strength way beyond his experience level. Really impressive stuff.
But, championship leaders often find a way when the pressure is absolutely maxed out. And Norris did just that, completely recovered from that earlier mistake on his first run.
Found 0.3. 0.3 of a second on that final lap. Just put clear air between himself and LECLERC. Game over.
Absolutely clinical when it counted.
That was that. Checkered flag comes out. Lando Norris, pole position. Piastri ends up P4. LECLERC P3, and Kimi Antonelli cementing his arrival, locking out that front row in P2. Just brilliant.
So let's just synthesize what this all means for Sunday. Norris, the momentum is clearly with him. Sprint mini pole, now the full Grand Prix pole. Championship leader, best seat in the house. Can't ask for much more.
No, he's in the perfect spot. But, and it's a significant, but Interlagos is tough for overtaking. Really tough. Notoriously so.
So while Norris might look comfortable out front, Piastri starting P4. He's got LECLERC and Antonelli right there ahead of him. Immediate obstacles.
Yeah, not ideal for McLaren's strategy.
Exactly. Their number 2 title contender is kind of boxed in. It makes it really hard for him to maybe cover Norris or help manage the race from the front like they might want to. This messy grid actually makes things complicated, even for the team on pole.
So what it really boils down to is this. If Lando drives a clean race, makes no mistakes, and capitalizes on this huge advantage, that points gap to Verstappen is going to get significantly bigger.
Oh, yeah. Considerably.
We could be heading into these final few races with the championship fight ramped up to maximum intensity, all because of one absolutely wild qualifying hour.
The stage is definitely set for a potentially epic Sunday. Can't wait.
Me neither. Okay, so for our final thought, something for you to mull over. Given this unbelievable qualifying chaos and how hard we know it is to overtake at Interlagos, what's the single biggest factor Verstappen needs to go his way to minimize the damage from P16? Is it purely down to needing a safety car, maybe 2? Right. Or is there a specific weather condition, maybe rain, that would uniquely play into his hands and help him claw back those crucial points?
That's a great question. A huge puzzle for the Red Bull strategist to figure out overnight, that's for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the, let's face it, utter madness of Brazilian Grand Prix qualifying. Make sure you subscribe and follow the deep dive, powered by DRS Zone, wherever you get your audio. You won't want to miss our race analysis. We'll see you next time.